In the world of the tenor banjo, it is a rarity when a contemporary artist is able to bring a new, unique, and instantly recognizable sound and style to the instrument which had its heyday a century ago and has constantly been redefined and reinvented in the years since. Yet, with innate talent coupled with a sincere desire to preserve the past via a living culture, New Orleans banjo master Don Vappie has done just that. Born in 1956, Don Vappie can barely remember a time in life when he did not want to be a musician. A product of the unique Creole heritage of New Orleans, which produced early jazz greats such as Jelly Roll Morton and King Oliver, Vappie's own proud musical lineage includes his great-uncles, Papa John and Willie Kaiser Joseph, both of whom were among the Crescent City's earliest jazz musicians. At the age of 6, Don began the piano lessons, which would prove to be the musical foundation for the trumpet, baritone horn, bass, and guitar which were to follow. Surrounded by the diverse musical opportunities that New Orleans had to offer in the 1970s, Vappie gave pop music a try, playing bass guitar in a top 40 band called Track One, prior to coming to the realization that it was jazz music which was his heritage and musical destiny. Mentored by many of the musicians whose lives exemplified Creole cultural traditions, Vappie, playing both guitar and bass, quickly made a name for himself in New Orleans jazz circles. Although he was aware of the racial baggage connected to the banjo, Don found the instrument to have a very musical sound, and in the mid-1980s, his banjo life began. Initially playing the instrument in the Chicago style and later switching to traditional tenor tuning, the banjo kick-started Vappie's career, seeing him become one of the busiest banjo players in town and ultimately landing a regular gig as part of the famous Preservation Hall Jazz Band. Immersed in the rhythmic vibe that helped define the city's culture, the outspoken and independent Vappie found a passion in playing music that lived well beyond the typical Dixieland repertoire demanded by the New Orleans tourist trade. In addition to breathing new life into the music of his jazz predecessors, Vappie's solo work, along with performances by his own Creole jazz serenaders, creatively blend vintage jazz stylistic ingredients with refreshing musical and rhythmic modes often rooted in Creole and Caribbean cultures. The result is a rush of the vibrant energy already embedded in the music that affects both audiences and musicians alike. Throughout his career, Vappie's commitment to New Orleans music and culture has been documented in many recording and film projects. As audio bookends, the 1986 vinyl LP, Papa Don's New Orleans Jazz Band, anchored the beginning of a prolific recording career, which recently saw his 2020 CD release, The Blue Book of Storyville, named the Best Jazz Record of the Year by the London Times. In 2006, Don and wife Millie co-produced American Creole New Orleans Reunion, a PBS documentary which took viewers to the front lines of a devastated city's cultural rebirth after Hurricane Katrina.
When the music come back, everybody's gonna come back.
While they tried, the transparency and genuineness of Don Vappie's music could not be contained within the confines of New Orleans. As one of the city's de facto musical ambassadors, in addition to the countless concerts and festival appearances that take him literally around the world, Vappie appears frequently with jazz trumpeter Wynton Marsalis as part of the Jazz from Lincoln Center programs. Further national recognition came his way in 2021 when Vappie became the recipient of the prestigious Steve Martin Banjo Prize.
Hey, what's the matter now? Hey, what's the matter now?
Whether providing the rhythmic pulse of a jazz band or effortlessly breezing through a suite of Harry Reeser compositions in front of a symphony orchestra, Don Vappie's one-of-a-kind sound and style present the tenor banjo with both musicality and distinction. As did his mentors who came before him, Vappie keeps traditions alive and current so that the torch can be passed. As he says, we can only conserve and respect our past by living our culture and honoring the spirit of our traditions.